Hey guys, welcome back to another Fireside Chat with Rice Crypto and Girl Gone Crypto. So Rice, how you doing?
I'm doing well considering everything that's happening all around the world. But I was definitely looking forward to doing this chat with you. I always look forward to creating content with you, and the subject of talking about what's going on with the Steem blockchain, Tron, the Steemit.com and hive.blog. It's a lot, man. And you seem to be knowing a lot about this. So I'm looking forward to discussing this and hopefully learning some information as well. So how are you?
Definitely. Yeah, no, I'm doing good. Similar to you, just kind of hanging in there. One thing I have to say, I'm very appreciative of being like a content creator in this day and age because we can have chats, we can do interviews, we can do all sorts of things without having to leave our house, which is really nice.
Yeah, I know it's great. I mean, I've been doing this for quite a minute, trying to go full time since the beginning of the year, getting back from Miami. So this is kind of my normal routine. Everybody else just kind of catching up.
So yeah, let's talk about everything that's happening with Steem and Steemit and Tron and Hive and all of the things. So I have been
Crazy.
doing my best just to kind of keep up with it all. Steam's been my home on the internet for about 3 years now, and so I definitely have been trying to kind of stay up to date on what's going on. And actually, what's kind of interesting is that up until this last week, I obviously I had my thoughts on things, but I wasn't overly vocal about it. I was just making some kind of educational content, like, here's a video explaining what's happening. Here's this, here's that. And then I got censored recently on Steemit, and so then I was like, all right, it's on, game on. So I've been on Twitter.
Yeah, I saw that. That is so crazy that as we were talking before we started recording, I've been dealing with a lot of censorship and shadow banning myself, and it sucks that other people have to start dealing with it. Thankfully I haven't had it on that level, but I saw the first video that got censored because it was twice, right?
Twice, yeah. So the first
video was completely neutral. Like it wasn't saying anything really negative. I mean, there were a few little things, but nothing that I thought was like
right,
too obvious. But I thought that was crazy that they removed it. And then I noticed that once the fork took place, that some of the information on hive.blog and on Steemit weren't exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still trying to figure out like what the other platforms are doing. Like, what is DTube doing? What is 3Speak doing and stuff? And we can get into that. But so for people who are unfamiliar, a couple months ago, Justin Sun acquired a centralized social media site called Steemit.com. And in doing so, kind of caused a lot of commotion in the community. And then we find out after the community expressed their concern with that situation, Justin Sun, in collaboration with multiple exchanges, utilized Steem that wasn't theirs and took advantage of people's voting power, and were able to make some changes within Steem and Steemit, and that upset the community immensely, and so they decided ultimately to fork that technology. And one, I think that is awesome, because I've been saying this for quite some time, that when we're upset about something as a community, we can come together and just fork that technology. Everything's open source, which is an awesome gift. It gives us the power as a community to be able to make sure that everything is on the up and up. And this shows a lot of things. We've seen the DPoS, which is the
delegated proof of stake. Yep.
And how that's got manipulated. And then we've seen how the community can come together and just basically say, in the nicest way, fork you.
Right.
Fork you to hell.
And kind of to your point, like I love it. Like the free market and is something that I believe in so strongly that I'm like, you know what? Whatever provides true value will win. And it's very possible that both Steemit, Steem and Hive will end up doing well. Maybe they'll both end up providing value. It's also possible that they'll both tank. Maybe neither of them are providing value. And
Right.
but for me, and like the way that I'm kind of thinking about this is like, there's a group of people, they didn't like where things were heading, so they took it into their own hands. Instead of just complaining about it, they did something about it, and now it's on them to create the world and the environment and the platform that they want. And again, if it provides value and people are using it and people are enjoying it, then it should then in theory do well. So
and only time will tell with something like that. I mean, I know that there are a lot of people that support Tron, and it is quite possible that something like Steemit might become kind of more of an Asian thing and utilized because that seems to be where a lot of the support of Tron comes from, especially in China. So that's a possibility. And then you could see possibility of Hive just being kind of the other version, here in the United States that's utilized, so I mean, there's a lot of different possibilities. But what I'm really upset about is how right before the fork took place, because I was wanting to dump my Steem. And I can't even pull my Steem off the platform right now. They got everything under maintenance. And then the people whose coins were utilized on exchanges, I don't believe they can withdraw their coins because of the way that the stake is being done. So it's that really, really, really pissed me off. And I understand that since Hive just forked, they're going to have a little bit of technical issues because this is a new platform. There's going to be some growing pains, and I'm trying to be patient. From what I can tell, they seem to be doing something pretty much an identical version of what Steemit is, but with a lot of improvements. And so I'm looking forward to that. I know we talked earlier, we both have had problems being able to access our wallets. So I'm assuming that's just a coding issue that they're working on, and hopefully that'll be repaired soon.
Yeah, I think that there's kind of two different things you mentioned there. So the fact that the Steem token is still under maintenance and that the wallet hasn't fully, come into existence on Hive yet. Like, to me, those are just some transition things, and I would, like them to go faster, but I'm not overly worried about that. The stake that was powered up and used like on exchanges for the voting a few weeks ago, that's kind of the bigger moral issue that I have, right? Because it was using people's funds without their consent to do something that they may or may not have approved of, right? And so
I consider it to be theft.
Right, and the fact that it's powered up and it takes 13 weeks for those funds to come down basically locked those people out of their access to their money for a long period of time. 13 weeks is a long period.
Yeah.
So that to me is a really big deal. And what I think has been interesting to watch is, because I have a lot of friends that are, Tron fans, Tron people, and, in the space, I'm generally speaking, I try to be friends with everyone as much as I can. I've always had my own thoughts about Tron, but that doesn't mean that I, haven't been like friends with people that like it. But it's been really interesting to see the shift in their, just the way that they're thinking about this all. Because at first they were all like, Steem, what are you guys doing? And then slowly but surely, as Justin's been showing more of his, I would say, true colors, like, I've actually gotten so many DMs from Tron people that are like, I am disgusted by him right now. And I've never seen Tron people say anything bad about Justin. You know what I mean? Like, usually they're very like Team Tron, which I mean, is not bad. Like, that's good that they're like so passionate about the blockchain that they've decided to like really put some energy behind. But the fact that, we've been kind of seeing this shift in perspective, even in the Tron community, I think that this whole situation has obviously, sucked for the Steem community, now I guess the Hive community, which we can get more into that. But more than anything, I think, Justin's own, just like, this has been a PR nightmare for him. So.
Yeah, man, but it seems like since he's gotten into the game, he's been a PR nightmare from the get-go. So, I mean, somehow he's got enough people behind him that he's able to get through this. I mean, he's even drunkenly admitted that Tron was a shit coin and that people shouldn't that people should buy his shit coin. It's ridiculous when it comes down to it. But what you mentioned that I really like, is that maybe people are seeing, they got into cryptocurrency and blockchain because of the power of decentralization. And when you're involved in a community and a project that you think is decentralized, and then you end up finding out that the person who is leader of that community is actually a wolf in sheep's clothing, who's just basically a power hungry person who's running everything his way, which is completely centralization. That it's good that people are waking up to that fact. It's good that they're not being blinded by thinking that every action that Justin Sun makes is a positive move, because we're all going to make mistakes, and hopefully Justin Sun will learn something from this. But that, again, only time will tell, because right now he doesn't seem to be very apologetic at all about anything that's gone down from what I can tell. Not with any sincerity.
Right. And I think that, again, like for me, this just always comes down to like the market will decide, if he takes actions that people don't agree with and that causes people to not want to invest in Tron anymore, then that's a market choice. If that doesn't happen, then that's still, and he does great, that's still, a market choice. People are deciding the fate of how things go. And I think that's great. I think that's fine. And I choose, I don't agree with the way he's acting. So that's not an area that I'm going to put my money. You know what I mean? I've now helped contribute to the way that I think the market might go. Right. And so I guess for me, when people are like, oh, this is terrible, I'm like, things always even out in the end, I think. Sometimes it's bumpy on the way there, but things end up how they should be eventually, I think.
That's a good outlook. So have you figured out yet, like 3Speak, DTube, all these different other platforms that have been running off the Steem blockchain, like what direction they're going to be taking? Because it seems like DTube is sticking kind of with Steemit. I can't tell. And it seems like 3Speak might be going on the Hive route. So again, I can't quite tell.
Yeah, not every DApp has really made a statement yet on what they're going to be doing. 3Speak has actually already moved to Hive. And so if you post a video to 3Speak, it will not show up on Steemit. Or on the Steem blockchain, it'll show up on Hive. DTube, they have their own blockchain, but they have that cross-posting functionality to Steem. That's still there. I think would actually be kind of cool, because honestly, DTube, like I said, they've got their own chain, so they have their own stuff that they're doing. It'd be nice if they just added a Hive login. So like right now you can choose if you just wanted to go to DTube or if you wanted to go to DTube and Steem. It'd be nice if they had it DTube, Steem, Hive, and you could just check any and all that you want it to be posted to. So that's kind of what I hope that they do. Apex is another one that I think as of right now are still transmitting to Steem. I'm not sure what their plan is. But ultimately, like, I don't even think that these dapps necessarily have to like decide, but just give people the option where they want it to post. I think that would just be a really nice thing.
I would like to see that, because I will capitalize on taking advantage of free coins and getting rid of them and accumulating more coins that I like. So, if that means continuing to post my stuff on DTube and 3Speak, and it happens to earn me tokens through Steem or whatever the case might be in the future, I'll take advantage and I will get rid of those coins and trade them off and just accumulate and stack more sats.
Yeah, and that's what's kind of interesting, because I've been thinking about what I want to do. Like, do I still want to post my content on Steem as well as Hive, or just post on Hive? And I'm honestly still kind of deciding and thinking through that. But the fact that Justin literally keeps taking down my posts, I'm like, well, I guess that's deciding it for me. Like, what's the point of posting to Steem?
We should push a social media campaign, because I asked him if he'd be interested in me interviewing him, but I would actually like to see you interview him. I think it would be a good opportunity for him to talk about what's going on, and I would like to see him be confronted about this issue of censoring you. I think it's bullshit.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion, like I get pissed off about stuff like that, and kind of make it my mission to do what I can to be as loud as I can about bringing attention to the situation. I just think it's completely uncalled for. It's against everything that I believe in the cryptocurrency and blockchain space, and it disgusts me in a lot of ways. And I'm trying not to judge him, but he's making it really hard.
I know, right? So, yeah, it's an interesting time, and I think that in the grand scheme of just blockchain experimentation, I think that we as a community are learning a lot of things through this, right? Like, we're seeing that, you know, pre-mined stake really is an issue. Like, that's been a concern on Steem for the entire 4 years of Steem's existence. Like, well, what happens if that is used to vote and to, you know, centralize the chain? And it's always been a concern.
You know, what's crazy about that whole situation, just to kind of just touch on it, is the fact that everybody trusted the situation just based off of a verbal agreement, is how I would interpret it. Maybe an agreement that was done in email or some sort of type form, but it wasn't anything that was done legally. And really, those funds could have been misused. So I don't remember the guy's name that owned Steemit, that had control of those funds, but
Ned,
he didn't misuse those. So I got to give props to him for that. But unfortunately, we've seen them be misused afterwards. Once somebody was able to buy up and accumulate Steemit.
Yeah, and I think that you know, hindsight looking back, it is interesting that maybe the Steem community didn't push a little bit harder to do something about that stake beforehand, because ultimately just trusting a human being, someone, is never a good option in the blockchain space. It's supposed to be trustless, right?
I never knew that there was that existed. I guess I didn't do enough research. And I mean, I've been using Steemit since summer of 2017. So I don't know when it started, when it launched specifically. So it was kind of a little bit ahead of my time. And at that point, it seemed like a lot of what Steemit was supposed to be was kind of broken by manipulation, by people holding coins and your Steem whales and all that. And it was really hard for me even back then to try to be able to make any sort of income. I mean, I made a little bit here and there, and as I started connecting with people, but it was nothing. It was way more than I made from YouTube, obviously, but it was nothing significant at all.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing too. So with Hive, it's still going to be the same, where you're going to have whales so it's still pretty much the same blockchain. It is actually the same.
It's a clone. Yeah, it's taking the Steem blockchain and just adding improvements and forking it off of the original chain.
And the main difference, really, is that there isn't that existence of that pre-mined stake, right? And so that's the really big deal, because that's what the censorship or the centralization concerns came from. Because if there was enough stake for someone to be able to control the top the top 20 witnesses, and they control the entire chain, basically. And so now that that's not present, you don't have to trust some entity or some company or some person to do the right thing, because that's exactly, now it's just built into the code. And what's kind of too bad is that I think that this all could have been resolved quite easily. A few weeks ago, when Justin originally said, "Hey, I don't have any interest in governance," he literally could have still kept his stake, but just written some code that made it so it couldn't be used for governance voting. That's all he had to do. And things would have been fine. There wouldn't be Hive, I don't think,
Right.
I mean, maybe not, who knows what else would have happened, but that was really the main concern. And so that could have been quite easily fixed without him losing or harming any of his funds. But I think that giving up control and power is not in his wheelhouse.
No, he seems to like it. He seems to be a power hungry person. And I'm not trying to jump on the bandwagon of being racist towards Chinese people at all. I don't trust the Chinese government, just in my research. And I really feel like Justin's son has a lot of ties to the Chinese government. And
interesting.
just in my research, I don't like their viewpoint on cryptocurrency and blockchain because they're firm, true believers in centralization, which is, you know, the complete opposite of what I believe in. But, you know, I definitely learned a lot from talking with you today, and I hope that other people, you know, what I would really like for people to do, since this is going to be on both of our channels, is, and I'll check out stuff on your channel as well, is I want people to comment down below, you know, what you guys think about this whole entire situation, because we definitely want some feedback. And if you have some information about anything that we talked about, you could share some links and some documentation, and we'd appreciate it because we're in this together and we got to look out for each other.
100%. So I'll just kind of close on a maybe just more like technical 101 level. Like if anyone's watching this and you've been on Steem or Steemit and you want to check out Hive, it's really easy. You can just go to hive.blog and sign in with your existing keys for Steem. And that's it. And then you're in and you can post. So I'll link that below so that people can check that out. But yeah, it's been awesome chatting with you, Rice, just getting into the details on some of this. I hope people have enjoyed this chat. And if you're watching this video on my channel, please head over to this guy's channel, give him a sub. He's got awesome content. In fact, some incredible interviews coming out. So, and tons of incredible interviews on there already, but you know.
And if you're watching this on my channel, make sure you're checking out Girl Gone Crypto, because she is one of my favorite content creators. She's somebody who I love working with, and I think she's got a bright future. She's a very intelligent woman, and she's putting out some awesome content. She does some really awesome interviews as well, and she's got some really cool tutorials and reviews that I love. So definitely check her out. And if you're subscribed to my channel, make sure you're subscribed to hers and vice versa.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. And again, don't forget to leave your thoughts below on what you think on all of this. So we look forward to chatting with you guys.
Much love.